Welcome everybody to another edition of Finding Dinner with Dandelion. Just checking out this new park here. This is Myrtle. Good evening, Imran. So that's a kind of myrtle. Can substitute that as bay leaves. It might be wax myrtle, but it's not that. It smells so good. Hello and welcome to the universe, another dimension where we're in the forest, and I'm just checking out this ecosystem. And if y'all have any questions, Jill asks, what are the best local herbs for the adrenal or thyroid? And you know, it's really hard. It depends on where your ecosystem is, but milk thistle is really helpful. Eleuthero, if you live in Siberia or Alaska, that's a really good one. Oh, found a lighter. I bet somebody was smoking drugs. Hi, Catherine. So herbs for the adrenals. You know, there's a lot of issues with the adrenals, and I think a lot of it has to do with being careful with caffeine. Gonna be a little ADD'd out for a minute, because it turns out that there's like tons of reishi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 bajillion, but they're kind of old. Look on the bottoms always. See how there's white on the underside, but some of them will be kind of rotten. So I don't need any of those reishis, but they obviously are showing themselves. So that means that probably you might want to look into reishi for the adrenals. Hey Jill, so you're in Baltimore. Yeah, there's definitely some herbs out here. I think also smilax root, certain sarsaparillas, probably the medicinal mushrooms, basically everything. If you eat a well diet, I think the body goes back into place, you know. So here's the birch polypore. I'm sure it's good for the adrenals. Haha, Western Kentucky. Hey there. Hey Catherine. So awesome to follow these. Too bad I'm at work and have a short break. Have to watch this later, says Yulka. Hi Yuli. So it's pretty amazing to try to read that small print and actually see where I'm going and not fall down a hill. It's quite a talent. So welcome everybody. You know, I just wanted to actually take a few minutes to remind everyone that I'm going to be doing an online mentorship this year. So you can see more about that on my website, returntonature.us. I'm also having my 4 seasons camping mentorship. So those are ways to connect deeper, and we're going to do a lot of stuff like this. I'm going to send you all on scouting missions, and you'll forage, and we'll have a message board to share what we learn and explore together. So if you're interested in that, check out my website. It's going to be a really fun year of awesome classes, and everybody can join. So anybody who says they don't live close enough, they want to come to classes, there's a good opportunity. Also, proceeds go to helping me get a van so that I can fulfill the plan. So many blessings. Really appreciate it. Everyone who sees the vision I'm holding and trying to help manifest it together, because you know, it's time. It's really time for a new way. This society is so broken, and you know, what is the underlying issue? The underlying issue is not Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or the next distraction. The underlying issue is that people don't feel safe and at home within their own ecosystem. You know, the only thing that I see people do is ride their bike through nature or run. And it's like, what are you running from? Where are you going? So, you know, these are all things to consider. As to the paradigm, we want to put our money and our time and our energy into growing. Y'all have heard me talk about the cottage industry and how necessary it is to relocalize and reskill ourselves. And I truly believe that the plants and the mushrooms have that message, and they will guide us to the earth. But we don't have a lot of time. You know, there's not a lot of time for us as a community to get our shit together. So I encourage everybody in the ways that you can to try to step it up in your local ecosystem, in your local community, and try to spread the wisdom. You know, there's big shifts and people are afraid and they don't know where to turn, and all they need is the right way in. So this is not the right way in, which is a deadly poisonous amanita. Don't give them that. It won't help. Let's try to catch up to some of these questions. Are ticks out all year round? Yuli says. Yeah, they definitely are, and they're definitely small at this phase. So basically I have to keep my, y'all probably see in my pictures, I've always got my pants hiked up like Huckleberry Finn or something. That's only because I get ticks all over me all the time, and it's a constant issue. So I'm definitely always scanning my legs, my ankles, which I try to keep as bare as possible. I try to go as sockless as possible, and that gives me the opportunity for my legs to tell me that I have ticks all over myself. So that's part of that issue. And basically I think a lot of people don't even see the ticks that are on them because they're literally smaller than the smallest freckle you have. But the benefit is that they move, so if they're moving you get a chance to actually see them. So be careful. I actually just put a piece on ticks up on my website today. Actually I did an online webinar with Olga Scher at Antononco Earth Art School, and so that actually is up online on my website, and anybody who wants to learn more about Lyme disease and herbal remedies with Lyme, you can go check that out. Let's see, not during winter, Eon says. Yeah, but if we continue to warm the planet like we're doing, actually we won't kill the ticks over the winter. So turns out that weather is a necessary thing for being careful of ticks. Also, of course, returning grouse, ptarmigan, turkeys, etc. to our ecosystems without destroying the habitat that they need to breed, because those are the tick-eating species. You know, a lot of these animals which people don't see a purpose to, which actually are running food, but we'll put that aside because that might ruffle some feathers. But those are tick eaters. You know, the opossum is a tick eater, so that's what those animals are for. Vicky, where's your way? Let's see. Next step on Facebook is to have, Yuli says, next step on Facebook is for you to be able to smell the forest from the internet. But it really works well because you can always take the internet out into the forest, like me. Ta-da! So, welcome outside. Hey Cash, nice to hear from you. Hope all's well out there in the Cali. I'm sure the white sage season is popping. That's part of the vision I have for getting this van, is that I can drive west and teach out west and do harvesting, such as sustainable white sage harvesting, for example, and bring it back east and tour the country and see you all and share and do the work of returning people to the earth and the sacredness of nature, and stopping by sacred elders and interviewing them and learning from them and sharing that process with you all. So please consider any small donation is very welcome and very thankful. I do have a van in sight. I'm looking at a Chevy G20. So this thing's an awesome vehicle. I won't drive much. So it's basically like a roving storage unit, and it'll be stocked with all apothecary goodies, so that when I visit y'all, you can basically just come in the van and I could hook you up with some beautiful custom magical goodness. Lizard says the new revolution is Standing Rock Indian Reservation. They are leading the way. Yes, and we are also standing as rocks everywhere, and it cannot be a centralized thing. It must be an all-in every way possible. Let's see. Use rubber bands on pant legs to keep ticks from climbing on the skin. Yeah, Lizard, I don't really like to actually cover my legs, because if you cover your legs, then they'll just crawl up to the next place that you're not tucked in, which could be your back, or it will be your neck, and then they'll get into your hairline. So I'd rather feel them on my ankles than kind of put clothing on. But some people like to prefer to put tons of clothes on. But then of course, if you don't wash your clothing all the time in hot water, which is ecologically not very sustainable, they're going to be in your clothes, so you got to be really careful. Seed ticks, yep, there's 3 phases of ticks. There are adults, nymphs, and seed ticks, and they all transmit Lyme and co-infections. There's over 30 co-infections that can be found. Everybody check out BuhnerHealingLyme.com or org. That's one of them. So here's another group of mushrooms. These could be the bricktop mushrooms. I'm still trying to get familiar with those. There's 2 species and they look pretty similar. So haven't eaten those yet, but definitely researching and studying those. I have an ongoing discussion in one of the mycology groups about discerning between the bricktops and I forget what the other one is called right now. Seed ticks. Hi Catherine. Hi Vicky. Yeah, Guinea, is that like that's probably a country somewhere very far away, and I'd love to go there and share and teach and explore with everybody. So really it's just a matter of, if you all see a cause, it's time for all of us, just like Bernie Sanders, received what average $30 donation. That funded his presidential campaign, So I think we really need to consider how to vote democratically in a capitalist economy with our dollars, and I hope and I pray that the example that I bring, will be an example for all of us to follow. And, I get all these kind of ideas, like, why don't you get like a hydrogen-powered motorcycle? And like, why don't you get like some really fancy thing? Every day it's like, I'm just cresting over $3,000. So what kind of hydrogen-powered motorcycle you think costs $3,000? And is it practical? And have you ever been like trying to camp on a motorcycle in a rainstorm? So it's really a matter of creating a balance of the scenario that we actually live in. And that's going to take some adjustments, So when we're talking about greening, we're talking about the sustainable revolution, we really need to figure out, how to progressively get there. It's going to be a systematic, step-by-step process, one that I'm writing about very often, so check out more of that soon. Shane asks, what do you have more knowledge in, plants or mushrooms? I don't really know. Never really considered or compared. I never asked the plants or the mushrooms. But, I think with mushrooms, if you get 10 mushrooms down in the right season, a little bit can go a long way. So you can find 25 pounds of chicken of the woods. When I first started out, I was like all nerding on every little mushroom I found. Like, people who come to my mushroom walks, they're constantly pointing out like the velvet tooth and stuff like this. I see it, but I don't kind of get into it as I used to. But when you're looking at this is the honey mushroom. That's food. So I really am a focuser of food, and with that you need a balanced diet. You can't just eat mushrooms and you can't just eat plants, but they come together very nicely with some fat. And some carbohydrates. Then you have a pretty nice meal. So that's really the first look at honey mushrooms. They're pretty small. They're the ringed honey mushroom. Can't confuse them for foliota or other species like the jack-o'-lantern. But you can see there's not really many there. So, and I have a whole bag of them already where I'm staying right now. So I don't need those 10 mushrooms. I can leave them there. So I think the knowledge is pretty even with plants and mushrooms, but I did start studying mushrooms first. The mushroom people are who brought me out into the forest to learn, and that was what my ancestors had been doing actually. My Italian ancestors were doing a lot of mushroom hunting. Imran asked, what time is it there? Probably like 6:30 or 7 here. What did I begin learning first? Shane says, yeah, as I mentioned, I was learning about mushrooms. Actually, I would just photograph mushrooms because I thought they were so beautiful in the rain. And then that led to realizing that I could eat some of them, and spending hours and hours on the shroomery message board, which is kind of like a identification, forum. And so I would just sit there and look at all the different mushrooms. Plus I had Gary Linkoff's Audubon Field Guide to Medicinal Mushrooms of the Eastern region, and I would just look at the pictures, and they're color coordinated. And I think that I learned just like brain stimulating. You just put it in there and you catalog and you go over and over. I think this is one of the biggest problems that people have with learning these skills is you think if you go to a plant walk or something that you'll know it, but you're actually getting to know a being that's like your ancestor, first of all, and is millions of years old. So it takes a lot of repeatedly seeing these species, so, oh, I think this is a honey mushroom. Let me make sure I can identify it again and again and again and again. And maybe after the 6th time, I'll try to take a nibble test. Once I know that I know that I know that I know. Otherwise, it's a very dangerous thing, and you can't be, you can't be a capitalist out in nature. You will just be destroyed, Only in the synthetic world that we've built can that happen. Vicky, that's awesome to hear. Aeon, cool, welcome. Nice to hear in Florida. Hope everybody's doing well down there with the hurricane. I just learned that, North Carolina got hit pretty hard with a hurricane as well. Catherine asks about if I work with Indian pipe, and yeah, I really love and respect and appreciate that plant. I feel like it is one of the shamanic plants of this region. It is, however, rare and not recommended to harvest a lot of. I've done a lot of dream work, and I've dreamt with dream pipe, Indian pipe, and that's a really profound one for lucid dreaming. Once I was in the woods and I was in my hammock, and I actually just sucked on one Indian pipe as I fell asleep, and I kind of chewed it and sucked on it, and before I fell asleep I spit it out, and all the Indian pipe went into my bloodstream. And what actually happened is that I had a dream about, similar to, I went to the International Herb Symposium, and there it was just this beautiful forum of all these herbalists. And I remember thinking, gosh, like, thank God this building doesn't just get destroyed or something with all these people in it, because they're like literally the wisdom holders of all of North America and beyond. So I had this dream with Indian pipe where I saw that we took over a college, and we like rented the college, and it was a forum just like at the International Herb Symposium, except it was for esoteric wisdom. So it was for alchemy and tarot and magic and Platonic philosophy, and really this deeper level of understanding herbalism from a sort of magical or alchemical level. So that's to come, of course. The Ghost Pipe has delivered that vision, and it will be time. Catherine mentioned, what am I looking for? A vehicle? Yeah, I'm actually fundraising for a van right now so that I can get on the road and come to you all and teach and share all this wisdom, as well as have the ability to travel around the country and forage and dry herbs and make an apothecary and forage my own food and be able to show you all just like this. I'll take everybody for a ride. It'll be great, and we'll just build up the return to nature revolution. I really feel like this is a key time for us to turn a corner into getting off of the sedentary sheetrocked world, and vans are going to be a potent aspect of that. So it would be a horse and buggy, but I don't think I'm going to get down the highway in a horse. It's not going to be legal. So we'll step by step to that, and that is what I see as the return to nature. That is the prophecy that the plants have given, that we're going to lead an exodus to the earth. And so any help spreading the word or donating, I request anybody who's interested to help support that. Even $11.11 really helps make a difference. You can see that project on GoFundMe at, Return to Nature. You see it all over my website. Vicky asks about, do I use cattail for flour? The problem with cattail is it's very hard to find in a wholesome area. So that's one thing. I find cattail in very small amounts that are actually edible, because it likes to grow in stagnant areas. So unfortunately, to indigenous people of this region, cattail would be a primary food source. But in New Jersey waterways, it's really disgusting because they're basically already cleaning the earth. They're bioremediating the ecosystem and sucking up a lot of the heavy metals and the toxins and the pesticides that are going into the waterways here. So you don't want to consume that into your body, but it is a profound food source if grown in clean water. That's one of the things that people are protesting about, right? Clean water. So we need this. Seth, hey there, Seth Knight. He says, just checking in to see what's going on. Have a good time at work. Love seeing you use social media for good purposes. I hope that everyone can use social media for good purposes. That's what it's here for. We only have a short time to use it. I was wondering, Seth Knight says, I was wondering, how is your van mobile apothecary project coming along? So far, we've just gotten past $3,500. And we're working our way up to 4,000. Please help us donate to 4,000. Yay! I'm looking at a van that's $6,000. It's a Chevy G20. It's in the middle of Pennsylvania. I really love it. There are some issues, of course, fears, concerns, anxieties. Oh my God! It's, you know, gets 25 miles per gallon. It's not a hydrogen-powered, eco water fueled monster super duper clean energy thing, but I barely drive, and I only drive like 2 hours a week, so it would basically be like a storage unit on wheels where I could then post up at different locations and stay there and invite everybody in, and then, you know, travel through a few hubs, not drive all over the place. So definitely working on manifesting a magical van, and definitely trying to figure out all those kind of logistical things. V6 or V8, how's this one? But I'm feeling like the Chevy G20 V8 is going to be a really key, beautiful van, which I can deck out with shelving and bring people on tour, you know, travel to the Dakota Access Pipeline, bring tons of supplies to people with a lot of visions, you know, work with elders, you know, be able to drive to places and study with people. Silvio asks if I went to school, or is my knowledge all from self-study? Plant study has always fascinated her. I've done a lot of self-study. I've also gone to school. I went to Heartstone Herb School. By then I was already a foraging maniac, and I was out there identifying plants and mushrooms a lot. But that definitely helped me as far as making tinctures, making salves, all kinds of stuff like that. I tried to go to Seven Song School. That didn't work out. So I went to Heartstone Herb School, and it was a weekend. It was like 6 weekends a year, kind of similar to what I'm offering in New Jersey. And I remember I left Wednesday and came back Wednesday, and throughout there I would just travel and forage and camp wherever I could, and it was some of the best times. That was back in 2010. From there I've gone to tons of people's workshops. You know, I've gone to Vasant Lad's classes, who teaches Ayurveda for many years at Ananda Ashram. I mean, I've seen Stephen Buhner, I've gone to International Herb Symposium, spent a lot of time studying with Eddie Starnader at Practical Primitive, who is an amazing primitive skills teacher, and his wife Julie is also an amazing primitive skills teacher. You know, I just try to get to these teachers, and I spent the summer with Timothy Wilkerson, who's an alchemist in, Indiana. So I definitely hope to drive out to them. I taught at the Midwest Herb Fest and then took his classes and spent time with him studying alchemical preparations, which I plan to continue to do and share with you and help you all gain the wisdom that the man tried to take away from you. As it's getting dark, we'll round things up here in a bit. Yeah, Aradia, I think that trading in your car for a van is a pretty fun idea. It's just a matter of figuring out what kind of van, and will it be, you know, a sustainable vehicle, or will it fall apart on you? It's definitely a difficult question. Let's see. Glad to hear, Vicky, that you have abundant clean water there. That's not the case in the United States. We have a lot of polluted, disgusting water and a lot of pollution going into that water. The water is basically treated with pollution purposefully, which is chloride and fluoride, so it's pretty nasty. I'm actually at a spring right now. That's what I was doing, filling up. So findaspring.com is a great website resource. Definitely try to get your own spring water. Much love, Seth Knight. If I need any help with any of that, let him know. I already donated and would love to see it happen. Being quartzite this winter if you want help building it. Cool, where's quartzite? Quartzite? Sounds amazing. Yeah, definitely sounds great. I'll definitely be releasing plans on how I plan to customize the van. I want to put basically shelves all on both sides and have the jars be secure, as well as put some drying racks in. Justin Mean says, when foraging in city parks and urban areas, how would you go about finding out if the plants are safe to use or not? Well, I would recommend the first thing is anywhere you forage from, you should get to know intimately. So that means walking the place maybe for a year straight, watching and observing how the plants do, and if they're yellow at any time, or if you see pollution or runoff or garbage or anything like that. Also, do internet research, figure it out. I know that in Prospect Park they're even spraying against milkweed, I've heard, according to some people, which is totally psychotic and not necessary, and it's a native plant and necessary for butterflies. So you got a lot of spray crazy people. That's the number one thing. You got to figure out who's spraying what in your ecosystem. That's what the plants force you to do. They force you to be a caretaker of the land before you can take of their bodies. So that's a very important skill to develop over time. I also have an article on my website about the whens and wheres of foraging and where's clean, so feel free to check that out. Hi Marielle, much love to Colorado, many blessings to you all. Keep on doing the medical cannabis, because it's definitely showing this economy that it's much better than prohibition and psychosis. Billy Smith says, just want to say you inspired me. Your whole energy has. So glad to hear, Billy. Many blessings, everybody. Really appreciate every single one of you. Definitely check out my website, returntonature.us, Instagram, Return to Nature, YouTube, Return to Nature Skills. So many stupid pages, man. But check them all out, the Return to Nature Facebook page, and lots more videos coming up. And thank you all very much. Many blessings. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace.